Alright, hello everybody, AJ Port back again with another movie review. This week's review is for Interstellar, the widely talked about film that came out last week actually. Yeah, I want to talk about this one. Interstellar is directed by Christopher Nolan, and in it, Earth is pretty much dying. It pretty much stopped growing food, and Matthew McConaughey's character, Cooper, is sent out into space to find the human race a new home. Okay, so Christopher Nolan directed this film, and he is regarded by fanboys as one of the best directors who ever lived. Some have compared him to Kubrick. I, for one, don't have this opinion. I, for one, am not a Christopher Nolan fan, but you know, that's just my opinion. But what really bothered me were the fanboys. You see, when this movie was first getting reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, the fanboys were so upset at this, they were trash-talking the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, saying, oh, you know, it's a Nolan movie, you probably just didn't understand it, you're stupid. And then they go on to IMDb and then change the grade to like 10 out of 10s, and now the movie holds like a 9.0 out of 10, because most of those reviews came from Nolan fanboys who haven't even seen the movie yet. This is in the past, by the way, this is before the movie was even released. And they just like gave the movie a perfect rating without actually seeing the movie. That is just not fair. That's just stupid. Almost ruined the movie for me. That being said, going into Interstellar, I just expected a typical Nolan movie. And yeah, that's what I got. I thought this movie was just okay at best. That being said, there were a fair amount of positives, and there were a fair amount of negatives. I'd say there were more negatives than positive, but you know, that's just me. First off, this movie is visually gorgeous. You are with Matthew McConaughey throughout most of the time during this interstellar voyage, that's what they call it, and it makes you feel like that you're in space. You are in the spaceship with Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Wes Bentley. Who else is on the ship? I forget their names. and you know, everything in space just looks so beautiful. The wormhole scene especially, that was just stunning. That looked beautiful. I also love the father-daughter relationship. It's very heartbreaking to see Matthew McConaughey leave his own daughter behind, because she's just a little girl and she loves her father so much. Their bond made you feel so much for them, and you just want everything to go alright in the end. Also, the acting is good, with a big emphasis on McConaughey, but I'm not really going to talk about that because, like, the acting is not really something to focus on here, because, like, I don't know, it just feels weird to talk about the acting for a movie like this. Don't get me wrong. And this movie does have a lot of genuinely heartbreaking moments. Like I just said, Cooper leaving his daughter behind. And, you know, that just made for a really powerful moment. And it just made the movie even more thought-provoking. And don't worry, Cooper leaving his daughter isn't the only emotional scene in the movie. I put this in quotes because why not? But my problem with the movie lies with the writing. It's very not good at all. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion because it's a Nolan movie, and apparently everything Nolan touches turns to gold, because he wrote Memento, he wrote Inception, and he also directed those two movies. But this movie, he literally explains everything to us. I'll get to that soon. But there are really stupid lines in this movie as well, including Matthew McConaughey explaining his own backstory for us. That really annoyed me because we don't need that. We don't need Matthew McConaughey to explain his own backstory. We can just have a scene, even a visual scene for that matter, just having the audience know his backstory. That would have made a very powerful scene, and honestly that would have made the movie better if we weren't spoon-fed everything. That really annoyed me. The fact that he just explained our backstory, for one thing, it was incredibly random. It was during a scene where he was talking to a school principal who apparently didn't think we went to the moon, and that was random too, because the moon landing has nothing to do with this movie. Okay. The moon landing is mentioned in the movie at least a couple times, and it literally has no purpose. Like, I guess you could say because it's a space movie, and of course the moon landing was on space, but it just fell out of place. I'm sorry. Also, speaking of explaining everything to us like we're idiots, yeah, that's a big problem with the movie as well. The movie feels the need to explain everything to us, just hoping in vain that we'll get it. Even when what they're talking about isn't even hard to figure out. I hate when movies do that. If you want to be smart, treat your audience like we're smart. Don't explain everything to us. Also, this movie is far too long. It's over 3 hours. It does not need to be. Before I went into the movie, I kept on hearing, it didn't feel too long. But then I kept on hearing, yeah, it definitely feels 3 hours. Yeah, it definitely felt 3 hours. Oh my god, there were so many unnecessary scenes in this movie, especially towards the middle. If you would have just cut some of the middle out and just made the movie 2 hours, maybe 2 hours 15 at least, then the movie would have been so much better. But no, again, they have to explain everything to us, and that takes up most of the movie's runtime. It doesn't need to. Cut the movie down. It will not make your movie any different, especially cut down the part with Matt Damon. He does not need to be in this movie. He has the most obvious metaphorical meaning to this movie. I won't spoil anything, but once you see the movie, it's pretty freaking obvious. Also, the twist at the end to me was just stupid. I'm sorry, I didn't dig the twist. I got it, I understood it. I just thought it was just stupid. It just made a plot hole for itself that made me question the entire movie, actually, and the whole reason why Matthew McConaughey had to go up in space. And speaking of plot holes, yeah, there are a lot of that. I'm not really going to go too deep into it, but yeah, like I said, they made me question about the interstellar voyage and why they even needed Cooper. Overall, Interstellar was kind of a letdown for me. Me not being a Nolan fan, I wasn't really expecting much. But honestly, I came out kind of pissed off. Not too pissed off, but just kind of. Even though I did like the movie, I just wish that we weren't spoon-fed everything. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get over that. Go see it if you want. Go see it if you want. And remember, guys, that's just my opinion, especially for a movie like this.